in just a second. All right. Here we got a foot. By the way, this tendon right here, going to the big toe, what is that? That tendon is part of what muscle? Miss Rader, please.
The extensor hallucis longus.
Yeah, she's 100% right because it's on top, so if it pulls, it's going to extend out the big toe, and it's going to the big toe, extensor hallucis longus. And these tendons going down to these toes that are on top, they're part of what, Miss Rader?
The extensor digitorum longus.
Yeah, well done. Nice. Thank you. Okay. All right, so I want us to look at these muscles really carefully because they're really important. We are going to be basically looking at the tibialis anterior, tibialis posterior, and the peronials. What's the other name for the peronials? Miss Carrillo?
Fibulares.
Yeah, fibulares. Okay. So we are looking. Well, let me do it this way. We are looking at the inside of somebody's leg here, and all these flexor digitorum longus and tibialis posterior and all that stuff, they go around the medial epicondyle, right? And they go down here and hook into, you can actually see the flexor hallucis longus right here. Boom. Going all the way down the big toe. It literally pulls from here, and that goes around this corner and bends your big toe down. The tibialis posterior goes around this corner and hooks underneath here too, which means when it pulls, it can create a plantar flexion. It acts kind of like another calf muscle. Ms. Savarino, please.
So just question to clarify on the question about the homework yesterday. They're called the stirrups of the feet just because they go under and hook under.
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you asked. We're heading towards that.
Okay, perfect. That's what I put. I was just like, I'm just
you're right there. You're right there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's hop back here really quick. Let's go back here. There we go. Okay. So don't worry about the fibularis brevis for just a minute. They both the fibularis and longus grab onto the side of the foot or underneath it. And if you think about it, if I'm on the outside of my foot and I grab onto it, I'm going to help to turn the feet out. What do we call that when we turn the feet out? Eversion. Thank you. And you guys evert all the time. You don't want to walk around everted. We worry when a client comes in truly everted, but you're doing this all day long so you don't fall over. So that's one of the things the fibularis longus and brevis do. Mr. Singletary, please.
No, sorry, I couldn't. I got my keys mixed. Court. Sorry, I was going to answer the question, but you had already answered it.
You're fine. So I want to point out something really important because we're about to answer Ms. Savarino's question, and it will tie into how fascial lines tie into your body. If you look at the fibularis longus, here's a good picture of it right here. It goes down around the lateral malleolus and underneath the foot. And it inserts into the first metatarsal and medial cuneiform. That means, just so you guys understand, that means it starts from the outside of my foot, goes underneath, and attaches on the bottom of my foot on the medial side. Which is why it's such a good everter. Right? So we're heading towards something. So don't forget, the fibularis longus inserts into the first metatarsal and medial cuneiform. Because the tibialis anterior inserts into the medial cuneiform and base of first metatarsal. What? Didn't I just say that about this guy? Base of first metatarsal and medial cuneiform. Medial cuneiform and base of first metatarsal. So what happens is the tibialis anterior comes down your leg from the lateral side, goes over it, and it meets it meets the fibularis or the peroneus longus, and they actually connect on the same place, and they create a stirrup. And because the tibialis anterior goes to the other side, right, because it goes in medially, it can cause you to invert. And because it goes over the top, it can cause you to dorsiflex. So the peroneus longus and the tibialis anterior do exact opposite things. They meet in the same place from different sides, and the fibularis longus or the peroneus longus helps to evert and plantar flex. The tibialis anterior attaches the same side, but it came from the other side, attaches the same place underneath. It helps to invert and dorsiflex. It's why your tibialis anterior is tired when you've been on a long car ride and driving, because you're actually constantly pulling your foot off the gas, right? I mean, I know, Ms. Savarino, that really pretty much you're constantly plantar flexing, but occasionally you have to lift it up for a second, and that's what tires it out. She's like, oh, cop, and then, oh, police officer, that kind of thing. But that
They
is
haven't
actually...
caught me here yet, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Yes. Let me know. I got a good lawyer. Bail money. We'll get you out. So these create the stirrup of the body. Yes, Ms. Creo?
I think I just realized, I think I misread the first question on our assignment, because it says what actions do the peroneals and tibialis anterior create. Note that they are essentially opposite of each other.
Yeah.
I thought it was meaning create together, like at the same time.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. That makes sense. I don't, by the way, I don't think our tests from the book are very great, and I don't even think my tests are that great. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to ask a question to find out if you know something without giving away the answer. You know what I mean? It's just really hard. So don't feel bad. I want to show you guys something here. Let's see. So I want to just do a little diagram on my leg here. Hold on. Let's see if I can put this down. What are we looking at there? Oh, you're looking at that. No? What are we looking at? Oh. Huh. Okay, I understand. I'm slow. All right. So let me actually unpin this so you guys can see me, hopefully, because it's important. All right. Good. So. And by the way, the peroneus brevis, or fibularis brevis, essentially does the same thing as peroneus longus, but it doesn't go all the way under and meet the tibialis anterior. So, tibialis anterior is found in my lateral leg compartment, right? It's found here. But it doesn't stay lateral. It goes medial. It goes underneath here. So, oh shoot. So you get this muscle that starts on the lateral side, goes over, and actually hooks underneath the foot. If you go over just a little bit laterally, you get to the fibularis or the peroneus longus. It's right here. It goes under the foot to meet the tibialis. Oh, I need more peroneus. Stop. Sorry, it's one of those days where you need an assistant. All right. Hold on. All right. So, there we go. Beautiful. Okay. So, both these muscles, strangely enough, kind of live on the anterior lateral side of your leg. Here's tibialis anterior in yellow. But it's a weirdo. It crosses over your foot and goes to the medial side. Here's peroneus longus. It stays on the lateral side and goes under your foot. And they both attach underneath your foot. They create a stirrup. So, why am I making such a big deal out of that? Because what makes fascial lines so amazing is they all start to connect. So, for example, my front fascial line, which is my What's this muscle that goes from my mastoid process down to my thing? Miss Everson, tell me. Sternocleidomastoid, prayer muscle. Goes into my rib cage. And then, what's this abdominal muscle right here? Rectus what?
No.
You're close. Rectus abdominis, yeah. The rectus abdominis actually hooks into my pelvis. What also hooks into my pelvis? There's a quad muscle. Rectus femoris. I know you don't see these connected, guys, but don't forget there's bone here. Bone is a very good fascial connector. It's the best. So this is all one line of tension. If you pull on this, you will actually pull on the hips. And if you pull on, we all know that, by the way. If my rectus abdominis tightens, I actually posteriorly tilt. That's a stomach crunch. If I posteriorly tilt, I actually stretch my rectus femoris. Okay? Thank you for nodding. Anyway, it goes all the way down here, goes way down here, and it hooks into my tibial tuberosity, which, believe it or not, is not here. It's way over here. And actually feeds into my tibialis anterior. And then it goes back to my peroneus. It goes underneath my foot, back to my peroneus longus. And then it goes up a really long band on the side. This is a side fascial line. What's the long fascial line that runs up the side of my leg? Miss Everson. What?
IT band?
IT band, yes. Ilial tibial band, right? Which comes up the side here. So what we're going to start to see is these fascial lines actually wrap around the body and connect with one another. And it's very helpful to keeping a body up. Because they can all, yes, thank you, Ms. Evelos. Yes, they all tie together and they allow your body to distribute tension so that I don't tear things and break things. They allow me to use multiple muscles in a chain to do things. They conserve energy so that I can wind my body up and bounce along and do things like that. You really want to conserve energy. Especially a long time ago when there weren't Twinkies to eat, you needed to conserve energy. Now it's not so important. But anyway, these long fascial lines help tie all this stuff together and keep you together. And then you can tweak certain things. And this is literally why a problem down here could be a problem up here. And this is just one very simple example of my chest hair coming out. Okay. Anyway, that was fun. It's like 40-year-old virgin when they wax them. Oh my gosh. That is, I've had that done actually, because the estheticians at our spa used to have to practice on me. The most painful thing I've ever had done. I've had my entire body waxed because they would practice. And you would think, I'm not trying to be weird, but you would think between your legs and things like that would be highly sensitive, and it is. No. Chest hair on a guy, it's like, I don't know why. It is just, it really is like that movie. So anyway, so the reason I'm making such a big deal out of the stirrup is all your fascial lines start to connect down underneath your feet. And that was just one example. Because if you think about it, the extensor digitorum longus and the extensor hallucis longus hook into the big toe, and they're met underneath by the flexor digitorum longus and the flexor hallucis longus, and they both run up opposite sides of your body. So you connect front and back lines, side lines. You even have rotational fascia that we'll get to. That's the most fascinating part. But I just want you to kind of think of this stuff in concepts like that. Questions? Mr. Singletary, please.
I'm looking at pictures of the tibialis posterior. Is the gastrocnemius, is that more superficial, or does the tibialis posterior cross over the gastrocnemius?
No.
No.
The gastrocnemius is the most superficial muscle in the posterior leg by far. The tibialis posterior is glued to the back of the posterior, and it's one of the deepest muscles by far.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
You'd have to get way down to get in the tibia. You can. It's not so much you easily feel it, but when you rub really deep through somebody's soleus, through their gastrocnemius, through their soleus, you can get to the tibialis posterior. And it does similar stuff. So now we're going to go back and look at these muscles again really quick just to put it all together, okay? And then we'll take a little break. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Do-do-do. Okay. All right. So, let's go back on here. Okay, let's go this way, people. Sorry, everybody. Well, let's try it again. All right. Come on. Okay. So, by the way, Mr. Singletary, if you see this picture here, it's from the medial side of the leg, but it actually doesn't matter. This picture shows the tibialis posterior. It is right next to the tibia. It's covered up by some of this other stuff, but it's right next to the tibia. So let's...
Okay. I see what you're talking about.
Yes. And I want to point out some stuff, guys. Things like the extensor digitorum longus. The job of the extensor digitorum longus is to extend your digits, your toes, right? But if it keeps trying to extend, what's it going to do to the foot? It's going to create a what? What kind of... Anybody? Miss Rader, please.
The dorsiflexion?
Yes. So that's how you get multiple actions out of this. It's really all the same action. But the point is, if your toes are down here like this, and this muscle starts tightening, it'll extend your toes, but if it keeps tightening, it's going to dorsiflex your foot. That's why they say that. I just want to kind of explain that. And what's this white tissue over the top here? Miss Carrillo, please.
I know it's those sheets at the
Ribbons. Yeah, starts with
retinaculum.
retinaculum. Retinaculum. This is probably called flexor retinaculum something because it's in front here helping. Oh, sorry, extensor retinaculum because it's in front. Why do we suppose this is here, everybody? I mean, it looks pretty. Miss Hendrickson, please.
It gives extra support, wraps around the foot to contain everything.
That is definitely true. It definitely wraps your foot, gives extra support. There is and that is 100% true. There is yet another reason, Mr. Craven.
Well, it's kind of like it's not a hinge, but it's like the rope example that you use.
Yes.
Like if it didn't have that pressure on the other side, it would kind of just like raise up and not do a whole lot.
It would literally pop off your ankle. It'd be disgusting. It'd pop off your ankle and it wouldn't do a lot. It helps it turn the corner. It's another pulley in a way, if that makes sense. Yeah, well said, sir. Thank you. And Ms. Hendrickson, you're 100% right too. It's there for sport. Ankles and wrists need lots of support. And you can rub this flexor retinaculum, extensor retinaculum, and you can feel it on many people. It feels like this really thin ribbon that kind of moves around in the foot. If you guys kind of go light on somebody's skin in there, kind of flat-handed, you can sometimes feel it. It feels good to have it rubbed. Okay. So here's the fibularis longus and brevis. These are on the outside of your legs. These run right down your fibula. Your fibula is on the outside of your legs. Super important. Runs right down the bone. And they feel like one muscle when we rub them, everybody, just so you know. This just feels like one muscle. I don't worry about differentiating them because they both essentially do the same thing, right? They both evert the foot and plantar flex, but one hooks onto this little bump. I bet you guys have felt this on the fifth metatarsal. Yeah? It's the tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal. It doesn't feel good to have it rubbed. You have to kind of be careful when you're rubbing up somebody's foot on the outside. And the other one goes underneath, right behind that, and hooks in over here. And we're going to find out that's where the tibialis anterior hooks to from the other side. Yeah. And we see more pulleys here. And you can actually feel these tendons on people. And if these guys are messed up, people are messed up from all the way up. If you mess with their foundation, it's why I make such a big deal out of feet. But legs kind of control feet, so they don't kind of, they do. Here's your tibialis anterior. Don't forget, tibialis anterior is on the lateral side of the foot. It's way out over here, but it crosses over and it inserts underneath into the exact same place that the other one did. It's not going back for me. All right, stop. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my slides. Jeez. All right. So the tibialis anterior also inserts into this spot. Also inserts into that spot on the medial foot. And that is the stirrup of the foot. And that's why I'm making such a big deal out of it. One lets you invert, and dorsiflex. The other one lets you evert and plantar flex. And so they do the exact opposite all day long. They are helping to tweak your foot. So the tibialis anterior and the peronials or the fibulares tend to be some of the hardest working muscles in your leg because they're always working. They're always trying to balance you. They can't really ever relax. They're always kind of doing this. And many massage therapists make the mistake of not rubbing shins. And even those that do make the mistake of not rubbing them hard enough. Now, I don't mean the shin bone. You'll know if you do that because they'll hit you. But you can get in deep. Miss Savarino, didn't we put an elbow in your... Yeah. And that... Miss Savarino likes a deep massage, but many people can take an elbow done properly in the anterior tibialis. And they'll love you for it. Love you for it. It's a revelation. Because that muscle is glued along the periosteum of the tibia. I don't know if you guys remember what periosteum is, but it's the fascia around the bone. And you ever get that ache in your shin? That ache in your shin bone? They call it shin splints, but really what it is those muscles pulling on the periosteum and it aches. Mr. Singletary.
Just a question about pronunciation. Okay, the Peronials longus, the insertion. Okay, it's the medial. How do you pronounce it? Cuneiform. Cuneiform.
That's the way I pronounce it. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've also heard people say cuneiform, by the way. Ms. Abelos.
So the tibialis posterior crosses over to the lateral side, so it somehow creates an X.
Over to the medial side. Wait, the tibialis, which one?
Tibialis anterior goes to medial.
Yes.
Tibialis posterior goes to lateral, right?
Oh gosh, gotta think about this.
So it
no.
creates an X.
The fibularis longus goes lateral.
Around the malleolus?
Yes. Well, by the way, you're right.
So does it create an X around the ankle joint and produce stability for the ankle joint as well with the pattern of how those tendons lay? So not only is it a stirrup, but it kind of goes like that.
Yes, I would agree with that 100%. You're right. You're creating lateral and medial ankle stability. Well said. I've never thought about it, but I think you're 100% right.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's very enlightening, actually. Anybody else? Should we take our 15... hold on one second. Miss Everson.
So there's a third Peronius, the Peronius tertius?
Tertius that not everybody has. Yeah.
Not everyone has it though?
Not everybody has it. No. Let's see if I have a picture of it even. Fibularis brevis, tertius. I might not even have it. Hold on. Sometimes. The tertius, by the way, doesn't actually do what the other two do. You want me to try to pull up a thing online? But not everybody has a tertius. It's a small muscle, so we don't usually worry about it. Peronius.
Has something different. What does it do? And why doesn't everyone have it?
I don't know the answer why does everybody have it, but we actually have quite a few muscles in our body like that. So we have quite a few muscles in our body. Here, I'll share this with you guys. Hold on. We have quite a few muscles in our body that some people have and other people don't, that don't seem to be critical. So here we go. Can you see this picture? Did I pick it?
Slideshow?
Oh, shoot. I picked the wrong one. Habits die hard. Hold on. Let's try it one last time. A tab. Here we go. There we go. Okay. That's the Peronials tertius, and as you can see, it's actually on top, so it would actually help with dorsiflexion, and well, I guess a little bit of an eversion, yeah. But not everybody has them; they're really hard to feel. I don't have a lot to tell you about it. I mean, you might want to go feeling around and see if you can feel it on somebody, but not everybody has one. I mean, I do, because I have superior legs, but no, I actually have no idea if I have one or not. So, I don't usually cover all these little random little tiny muscles that some people have. Some people have, like 10% of the population has this tiny muscle around their sternum. It just doesn't seem to affect anything structurally. Yeah, that's the same face I made. Anyway, some people have a psoas minor, and some people don't, like in your abdominal region. So, anyway. Okay. And by the way, feel free to also try to rub between the tibia and the fibularis because there's interosseous membrane in there. Just like your forearms, there's not empty space in between my two forearm bones. There's interosseous membrane that a lot of other muscles hook to. There's like saran wrap around that the muscles hook to. So you can sit there and wiggle into the actual membrane. And you can do the same thing in the legs. Yeah. Let's take a break. Be back in 15 minutes, 9:42. 9:42.